We also have the governor of Nasarawa State, I believe, Mr. Al-Makura, voting at the moment. If we could get those quick visuals coming through. That's the crowd in Nasarawa State where this is taking place. The governor is expected to vote at this very point. But you can see clearly that's him. Clearly thousands of people at this very point. We don't know if they're all here to vote. But we'll just keep track on this. This is the governor of Nasarawa State.
I can't seem to recognize the structure of a voting process.
Yeah, that's because it's just so crowded.
Yeah.
And this is what we've been talking about. There should be some kind of setback, barricade set, just so we understand that this is the area where the true business is going on. Everyone else stay behind the lines. So,
but it looks as if he's on the line, but it's difficult for you to notice first at sight. But okay, from this, let's go to a former leader. Don't forget General Yakubu Gowon. Well, there's still. Okay, are there images on this actually? But
he's an observer.
Just moments ago.
Okay. He's observing.
But here you can see those ballot boxes on the floor for the 3 areas where they're supposed to. So this is an interesting scenario. Hopefully INEC will also speak to this kind of situations wherein they have a lot of people congregate such that they encroach upon all of those demarcations that INEC has put in place. There definitely could be challenges because security will be difficult to handle in one fell swoop.
Absolutely.
Yes. We got a security consultant in Abuja, Mr. Gushaki. Yeah. You've been watching very closely to see how some of those visuals, some of those pictures come through with regards to security now. Would you say that the INEC could have done something better working with the security agencies? We understand that the police ought to be there. I think about 4 policemen should be deployed to a polling unit. But it does seem to suggest that some of them are just not applying what should be applied to ensure that people stay at a distance from where the real action of voting is taking place.
The arrangement is for the police to send 3 officers to each polling booth. And I think that has taken place. And to make themselves to be visible. And in some areas, to make themselves to move away from the crowd so they don't become a threat to the election process. And I think one of the bits that they were told is once you have finished or completed your voting, you can stay about 300 meters away from the polling unit. That is taking place. I think the best security for any electoral process is not to overwhelm the situation, and that is what the Nigerian police is doing presently. And where they are needed, and you have to understand that the lead agency for the election in Nigeria remains INEC, and is the person in charge of the polling booth that we invite the police if they are needed. Because the democracy is for the people to exercise their right. So we don't want to infringe on that right and become a threat rather than to secure them. So a lot of them have seen the officers in action. A lot of the officers have been accredited for being calm, and they did not need to get into any arrangement with any of those people, because one of the bits that you see is if you do see an officer talking to a member of the public, there are a lot of cameras and videos that might even accuse him or her of doing anything that is totally wrong. So we told them, stay away. If you are needed, you'll be called. If the process is going well, as planned, then you don't need to interfere in the process. And I think that is what is happening right now.
Okay, also, just before we flip it over, there's this situation in TBS in Lagos here. We're hoping that frustration doesn't give way for despair at some point. But what can be done just so that people who are feeling that the INEC officials are not there yet, what can we do to ensure that they just remain calm, really, and ensure that it doesn't become a security situation?
This is where the training we've provided to the police officers in the last few months actually come into play, because they have been told to calm the voters And in as much as we were expecting this type of situation, because we played a lot of scenarios where the cards or the INEC representatives will not be on time, is for them to make sure that everybody stays calm. And then you remember that there are a lot of the agents of those political parties as well. Their job is to make sure that their people are calm and everybody awaits the arrival of the INEC officials. Unfortunately, when this goes beyond the main time, meaning that people become frustrated, anxiety will come up and people, there are a lot of issues. Some of the voters might be sick. Then there are other agencies that need to come into play. For instance, the medical services needs to be there. I saw a few on my way here from my Tama, from Guarimpa, but at the end of the day, the police can only do much and they are doing their job. And the principal people, the INEC, who are supposed to be there, and we're talking about the situation in Lagos, once they get there, then they can meet with the officials. Because one of the bits that the Inspector General of Police made sure that we did is to make sure that all the polling units, the police officers were supposed to be there at 5 a.m. That is what happened. And I cannot see any situation today where police can be blamed. But then the issue for us is how to manage the crowd, and that's what they are doing now in Lagos.
All right, well, earlier we brought you still images of the Speaker of the House of Representatives while he did cast his ballot. We also brought you some video footage, but we were not able to hear the Senate President speak. It wasn't audible. But now we can hear and see the Speaker and the Senate President now.
All I can say is that I give my praise to the people who have come out to vote, despite the frustration of last week. Nigerians have come out. The turnout here is impressive, and I'm sure the president of the country will be impressive. We thank Nigerians for coming out to vote. Those who have not come out to vote, they should please come out to vote, because there are still challenges here and there. INEC needs to ensure few resources here, few this, few that. They should try and make sure that they meet up before the end of the day to ensure that where there's still few challenges, Nigerians have shown that they want to participate, and INEC has a responsibility to show that back to Nigerians by ensuring they deliver an efficient election.
I think it's fairly okay, judging by what I've seen here, that it's a bit smooth. But in the sense that, you know, I had a problem, the card reader couldn't automatically authenticate me. So I had to thumbprint on the voters register, so to say, for me to vote. So that is one of the flaws I've noted, even though the process of authentication was repeated twice. But somehow, the card reader couldn't accept my fingerprint. So I had to thumbprint on the voters register for me to vote. That's just one of the things that I've noticed. But this is just one polling unit in perhaps hundreds of thousands across Nigeria. So if what is transpiring here is what is happening across the length and breadth of Nigeria, then I can say that this meets the standards of a democratic elections. But the problem will happen in maybe in the nooks and crannies of this federation. They know that the eye of the media will be here, because the speaker comes from this unit. So certainly you can see that it is fairly more organized, it's better packaged, and we hope that this is the situation across all the polling units in this country.
It's a mixed bag of reactions in terms of what's going on. Well, eventually he was able to vote the speaker. He tried the first time, but you know what they say, if you try,
try two times,
and try again. But I know when the smart card reader doesn't read or doesn't pick up when it should pick, it can be frustrating. But we expect that hopefully several other areas, as we highlighted initially, the INEC Director of Voter Information, Festus Okoye, will be briefing, so we hope that he will speak to all of these matters and see what can do, because there are some areas where we understand that voting of the officials came in at about 1. What happens in those cases? So hopefully they may be able to speak to some of those issues when those reports do come in. But there are some other reports that are really, really raising some concerns now. This one coming says, much as you have people waiting for the arrival of INEC members of staff to commence voting at St. Mary bus stop in Lagos. But it was a completely different scenario in Port Harcourt. Former Andoni local government chairman, Mo Etete, and 2 others have been shot dead at Asarama Andoni local government area. Well, guys, you know, River State, many of the state, look out and see that let's ensure that things go on. But with this,
confirms it.
This was a huge security challenge and concern about this one. We understand that he's from Ward 9 in that area. So I'm just wondering, Mr. Ogunshaki, this is going to pose a challenge to security, isn't it?